Hello, viewers. My name is Ruimbo Mchenje. Welcome to yet another podcast where we discuss CAP 3, the Constitutional Amendment number 3, that has been contentious in all the circles on social media, on TV, on newspapers. Today, we are joined by a member of the National Democratic Working Group Youth Movement. He is going to introduce himself and he's going to dissect the CAP 3. Welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. I am Tawia Chinama and I am the current youth president for National Democratic Working Group Youth Movement.
We've had the Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill. It has made waves in the legal fraternity, in our social media circles. Everyone is talking about it. Can you tell us how or what the National Democratic Working Group is and how it relates to the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3?
Well, thank you very much. Our position is very clear when it comes to Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3. We are saying no to the bill, and we are saying if people of ZANU-PF or that faction in ZANU-PF, because we know not all ZANU-PF members are for that bill, if that faction in ZANU-PF which wants to pass that bill, if they want it to pass, they should actually at least have 2 referendums.
That is quite a common position in opposition circles, legal circles. Have you, as the National Democratic Working Group, made your submissions, maybe, let's say, in writing to Parliament, or maybe for the public hearings? Were there any efforts to oppose the bill beyond press statements, press statements, and maybe community meetings within your working group? Were there efforts beyond that to register your displeasure with the amendment bill?
Yes, we have been making efforts. Individuals in the movement have been sending their submission to Parliament. Personally, on behalf of the National Democratic Working Group Youth Movement, yesterday, I sent a statement too, and other people are going to send statements up to the 17th of May. And what is difficult when it comes to gathering people to talk about this bill is that anyone who gathers to talk about that bill, if you are going to say no, you are likely to be arrested. We have been victims of arrest several times. Last year, before this bill even came into picture, we were arrested in Mtare for having a meeting at a private property. And as we speak this year, we have the likes of Takunda Muka, a member of ZNASU. He has been arrested in relation to this bill. We have also, 2 days ago, Emmanuel Stima have been arrested for the same reasons, though the allegations which are leveled against them, that are being said, malicious damage of property worth $10. So, same allegation of destroying property worth $10, 2 people are inside, and all the 2 have been denied the bail. Yeah. Imagine you deny someone bail because he made allegation that he or she destroyed property which worth $10, which I think even if a person admits it, say I'm guilty, he can still pay. So, but we know that Takunda Muka and Emmanuel Stima, they are very vocal against the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3, and they are suffering because of their views. They are suffering because of defending the Constitution. So we didn't have enough time to gather, but we have been expressing our displeasure against this bill, and we tried to attend certain hearings which were being conducted by the Parliament. Unfortunately, we later on realized that it was something which was choreographed. It was like ZANU-PF rallies, because you would see they would bus people from far away. I was there at Aquatic Center in Chitungwiza. I was not given a chance to speak. I went to City Sports Center. I was not given a chance to speak. Even any other person of the opposition wasn't given a chance to speak. And you realize that on ZBC we have been seeing jingles singing for the CAB 3, but you never saw anything against that. And you actually saw the Catholic bishops also voiced their thoughts. They said, no, this is not good for the country. Zimbabwe Council of Churches said the same. Even some institutions of government, for example, Human Rights Commission, through its chairperson, Majome, they said, no, this wasn't fair. And what happens the following day? The commissioner was reassigned. So, in other words, we are saying they are trying by all means to close out anyone who tries to challenge the bill. But we have been trying our best, and we are not going to let it pass. We will try our best to stop this bill. It can only pass after 2 referendums, which means they have to win 2 referendums. Because the first referendum is to ask the people whether they want those amendments to pass. If people decide that those amendments has to pass, remember the legal rule that you can't be a beneficiary of the amendments which were made during your term. It's a pity that this constitution, they want to amend it for the 3rd time. First and second time they amended, and we're just ignoring it. But little did we know they were testing waters. Remember, as we speak, the Chief Justice of this country, I would say, is an illegal Chief Justice, because he's a beneficiary of an extension which was made when he was already in the office. He should have resigned probably 2 years ago. So we let them, but we later on realized that no, we made a mistake. So that's why we are challenging now.
You have spoken a lot about what ZANU-PF has done in terms of canvassing support for the amendment bill. You are saying we are going to oppose it. We are going to make sure that this bill does not sail through. How are you going to do this? Because from your own explanation, ZANU-PF managed to buzz people to the public hearings. So maybe the only voices that we had during the public hearings were the voices that supported the bill. The voices that opposed, I remember in Chitungwiza, a guy stood up to speak. And before he could even finish, the mic was taken from him. And he was later followed outside the venue and beaten. So if this is what ZANU-PF is doing to make sure that this bill says through, what is it that you, as the National Democratic Working Group, are doing, maybe not just as the National Democratic Working Group, but maybe all those that oppose the bill? What is it that they can do to ensure that this bill does not sail through?
All right. The Constitution is clear. It guarantees us the right to go against. We can stop these things of writing petitions. We can take it to the streets. By taking it to the streets, we don't mean we are going to be violent. We go to the streets peacefully. But if we happen to be attacked by ZANU-PF members in the streets, we have all the rights to defend ourselves. So we are going to do anything to block them from proceeding with this bill. Of course, yes, it's a pity that they took a mic from someone and later on they follow a person, they beat a person. Of course, people are always people. You oppress people for some time, but at some point we have to defend ourselves. Even a cat, a cat is not known of biting anyone. But if you corner it, obviously it has to bite you to escape. So that is what we are going to do. We are going to defend our constitution with everything it takes.
I still haven't gotten how we are going to do this. ZANU-PF has done what it can. It knew that after gazetting, we are going to public hearings. After public hearings, this is going to parliament. And this is what they did. They ensured that they bussed people to these public hearings. And if anyone was there to observe, they would say there is unanimous support for the bill. In Seke, for example, there was not even an attempt to oppose the bill. In Chitungwiza, we had 2 or 3 voices. In Harare, you know what happened. It degenerated into chaos because people known to be opposition activists were not given a chance to speak against the bill. So what is it that we know that you guys failed to do? before the bill went to public hearings. Now that it is out of public scrutiny, people are now writing in. No one knows who has written. At this stage, what is it that you guys can do or are doing to ensure that this bill does not proceed?
All right, I said we are protected by the Constitution to protest against the bill. Of course, it's a pity that issues to do with the strategy, how we do our things, is not something we can discuss in public. But let me assure you, whatever we are planning to do, we are not planning only as people who are opposing the bill. You said ZANU-PF bust. It's not ZANU-PF as a whole. A faction in ZANU-PF, which is pro-2030. But there is a faction in ZANU-PF which is actually engaging us. So the opposition to this bill is wider than anyone can think of. There is a faction in ZANU-PF which is actually engaging with us, and we welcome them on board because here we are united by the interests. There is a faction, and you have seen some retired generals, what they said. And you heard what Comrade Knox of Geza Revolution said. And so, of course, I can't discuss the strategy the way it is to say from A, we go to B to C. But we have something in place. And actually, themselves, they actually know it, that there's something which is coming. That's why they are trying to do a PR of trying to show as if people are in support of that bill. And part of the action we are going to do is to lobby necessary institutions. Already certain institutions have started acting. For example, Human Rights Commission already. Whether they've changed the commission also, the message is clear. She said it, and we know it now.
So you're working with a faction in ZANU-PF to defend the constitution. We have had instances where people have been united, opposition and ZANU-PF have been united to on certain fronts. In 2017, people in opposition and people in ZANU-PF united to march against Robert Mugabe. But after that, we saw ZANU-PF returning to its course. It remained in power. There were reports that opposition was promised that if we work together on this, we will reap the fruits together. But when you say we are working with a faction in ZANU-PF, what maybe you don't want to divulge the strategies, but is there any guarantee that you are working together for the common cause, or you are being robbed into factional fights by ZANU-PF?
We are not being robbed into factional fights. We own this. We are the principals of the struggle. These guys that are the ones who are approaching us saying, listen, we also don't agree with whatever Mnangagwa and his friends are doing. Remember, the people in ZANU-PF, they're crying that people like Itagwirei, Wikinewe and other, those who are funding this, they are accusing them of not having a history of ZANU-PF. Of course, we were once cheated, so it was a learning curve. So now we know how to deal with ZANU-PF. Of course, it was a learning curve, and it's unfortunate that it went to that an extent where ZANU-PF betrayed us. But once bitten, twice shy.
Thank you very much for this. You have also spoken about the arrest of the two gentlemen, Emmanuel Sitima and Takunda Moka. Does this not, in a way, instill fear in those that may want to oppose the bill?
Of course, what they want to do is to instill fear in the people who want to oppose the bill. But I don't see it working because as we speak, as young people who are against this bill, we are actually planning something, despite our larger movements planning something. Actually, the arrest of Stima and Takunda is actually encouraging us to fight more, because we can't give up. Because if we give up on this fight, it's a betrayal of Emmanuel Sitima, it's a betrayal of Takunda Muka, it's also a betrayal of other people like Mazbabawe Shantuko and other Oves, those who were arrested before on account that they were joining protests which were called by the late comrade Bombshell Geza. May he so rest in peace. But I think his spirit will actually empower us. So we will still say, long live the spirit of Geza, long live. And there are other people who were, in example, like Morgan Richard Trankre. We saw he died fighting. So we take inspiration from him. We saw people like Lenimo Judah Chongwe. He died fighting. We also saw people who are still alive, people like Job Sarowi Waskala. He has been arrested over 60 times. He was never convicted. He was arrested at some point for 2 years in prison without committing any crime. And if you see the power he's having in challenging this constitutional amendment bill number 3, that alone inspires us as young people, also inspires us as National Democratic Working Group. And I think the same for Defend the Constitution platform, of which National Democratic Working Group is part of it. I think the same for CDF, led by Tendaibit. I think the same International Socialist Organization being led by Munyara Zigwisai. The same for NCA being led by Love Momaduk. The same for Transform Zimbabwe, led by Ngarivume. So you see all these people, they are actually in for it. They are not joking.
Those that support the bill say the bill, the clauses in the bill allow for us to have elections after 7 years, giving time, paving way for development and policy consistency. They also say 5 years is not enough, to implement development. Is there anything wrong, really, with having a term extension for ZANU-PF, a term extension for the current president? Is there anything wrong with what ZANU-PF is suggesting with Amendment Bill number 3?
Yeah, there is a lie that 5 years is not enough. ZANU-PF did not start to rule this country in 2023. They started to rule this country in 1980. So they failed for 46 years. So they want to do something which they failed for 46 years. It doesn't make sense. And who implements? Is it a person or the government? This should not be about personalities. It should be about the... And I'm so surprised. Mnangagwa is over 80. I don't know Makoraya kana story actually ake. Because remember, he was arrested at some point nenyaya dzekupisa chitima. Dzanofarira iye kuti andakapisa chitima. Pane pakarudiswa makore kuti munhu asaurawa. So an old person like that, vada kuti arambe ari pachinzvimbo. They are heartless, they are merciless. A teacher anonzi kana asvika 65 years haachakwanisi kumanage class ineva na 20, but vanoda kuti Mnangagwa over 80 anzi amanage nyika ina vanhu 17 million. I think ipapo havasi kuva fair. And pane pandambotaura zve-inspiration paya kuti kune vanhu vanoti inspire. If kupisa chitima wakaita Mnangagwa in the 1960s was a revolutionary act, what is going to stop even the young people of today kuita the same? It was a revolutionary act fighting an oppressive government. It seems his government has become also oppressive. So I think people are justified if they also ban trains. We'll be taking a leaf from him.
Thank you very much for that. I really, maybe just as a parting shot, to tell us, what would you want to see happen between now? The public hearings are done. People are still writing to Parliament. What would you like to see between now and May 17, when Parliament says you can no longer send your emails in writing. What would you like to see pertaining KEP 3? What in terms of implementation, in terms of opposition, in terms of the way forward for KEP 3?
All right. We will keep on lobbying because I told you that National Democratic Working Group is also part of DCP, Defend the Constitution platform. And in the Defend the Constitution platform, there is a desk for members of parliament led by Agents Gumbo. So is lobbying in the parliament. And we want the members of parliament to know this. The power to be members of parliament comes from the people. Even to Mr. Mnangagwa, the power to be a president comes from the people. So power ndere vanhu. So we give you kuti ushandise power iroro kudevelopa nyika kwe 5 years. It's like takukweretesa mari tikati nasi, let us say today is Friday. I gave you money and I said unondidzorera ne Wednesday. Then on Monday you are talking that you without talking to me wakuti ndakuda kuidzora ne Friday. No, you have to talk to me. I am the owner of the money. Saka tukuti ma MP ngazive izvozvo. And we are also encouraging MPs kuti vato initiate an impeachment process because the president has shown intention to breach the constitution. I think that is an enough reason to impeach the president. He should be impeached. So tiri kuti ma-MP ngarege zvavo kuda kuita nhafu dzokuti nenyaya yekuti vanozva kuti vamwe vavo cannot be elected vakuda kuinda ku-extension. That one is not acceptable. And there are two things here, especially to the faction in ZANU-PF. They have to choose either peace or chaos. If they choose peace, let the election in 2028 proceed. If they choose chaos, surely this country will not be governable beyond 2028 without an election. I promise.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, please kindly follow us on our Facebook page. It's Ozim News. On Instagram, it's Ozim News. On TikTok, it's Ozim News. And it's bye-bye for now.